Modern Skein podcast. My name is Sharon Graff, and I am the owner of the Modern Skein, which is a yarn shop here in Montgomery, Texas. I feel like I'm a little off. I haven't been running around all the things. Internet's fouled up this morning. It took me an hour to get here. So yeah, traffic, construction. It's construction. It's not traffic. It's construction. Gotta love it. Or not. So I just need a moment. Calm myself down. Take a sip of energizing juice. It's coffee. So yeah, hello. Welcome to the podcast. I hope your morning has been much less stressful, or afternoon, or whenever it is that you're watching this podcast. Yeah. Maybe you didn't have to deal with traffic today, which would have been fantastic. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. So, as y'all know, in December, I do try to do my own little version of VLogmas. I am not a day-to-day vlogger, that's for sure. You'd see me doing the same, 5 things over and over again, which would get pretty boring by day 3. So we do basically, rather than an every other week podcast, I step it up and do a once a week podcast. So this is week 2 of our December podcasts, and I have a finished object to show you. I actually have several finished objects, but I popped this on. I will be taking it off because it's 81 degrees and it's really too hot for a alpaca sweater. But I finished my Sunday cardigan. Ta-da! So I knit myself the size medium. I do have positive ease. I don't think I'm going to put buttons on it. I don't want to say never, but I rarely button cardigans. So I'm not thinking I'm going to put buttons on it, but I might. I reserve the right to do that. I knit my beautiful Sunday cardigan out of Techno, which is a blown bulky weight yarn. It is from Blue Sky Fibers. I do currently have some in stock, but also probably by the time this podcast opens up, we are going to be getting in a test batch of another yarn that is extremely similar. That would be perfect for this sweater, which is called Cause or Cos from SandnesGarn, and it is also a blown yarn as well, very similar to the Blue Sky Techno, just a little bit less expensive, but the best part comes in way more colors. So Blue Sky only comes in like a couple different shades of gray, a cream, a driftwood, a yellow, and a kind of a denim gray blue. Whereas the Cos comes in, I want to say like 18 colors. I think we're getting 10, maybe in this little batch. So stay tuned for the website. We are getting in so many boxes of SandnesGarn yarn. You guys see that empty shelf? That will not be empty by the time this goes online. There's going to be a massive SandnesGarn restock. It's been a few months in the works, but it's always worth it when we get new yarn in. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm very happy with my Sunday cardigan. I've always found petite knit patterns are very easy. This would be a good first cardigan for sure. Bulkier weight, bulkier gauge, bigger needle, not very hard at all. So, and it's one of those nice wearable pieces. So, I'm pleased with it very much. Again, too hot to wear. It's 81 degrees. So I finished my Sunday cardigan. And then as I chatted a little bit last time, I had gone through my whips and pulled out some of my languishing whips. And I finished another one. I finished my Agnes from Camilla Vad. I will go ahead and put it on momentarily just so you can see it modeled. This is, like I said, Agnes by Camilla Vad. It is, I haven't woven in all my ends. I've woven in some yesterday, but not all of them. Okay, so this is, I'm going to have to go back and see what size I knit because I don't remember. But it's a really nice size. I like this size of positive ease. So like my sides end here, it's probably about 6 inches of positive ease. It's nice. 4 to 6 inches of positive ease for a sweater, because I usually wear, you know, a shirt or a blouse or something underneath, or a tank. And then you could always front tuck your sweaters, because I always like to do that. So cute. I look like I'm ready to go skiing. So the yarn I used here is, so the pattern calls for, I feel like I'm, hello, hi. It's a great screenshot. The pattern calls for a sport weight yarn or a fingering and a mohair. And I did a fingering and a mohair. This is Cottage Sock from Red Stag Fibre, held with a strand of Biche and Buche in a complementary color. Welsh Slate with the black mohair. Then this is Cobblestone with, I believe it's medium gray from Biche and Buche. This is Castle Rock, which is the main body, held with light gray from Biche and Buche. And then this is Stone Path. It's kind of a green undertone, and I believe the complementary Biche and Buche that went with this one was the dark gold, I think, was the one that went with it. I'm not entirely sure. I know I talked about it pretty extensively on probably like 10 podcasts ago or more. It is knit to pattern with the exception of sleeves. I believe in the pattern she has you narrow down and do a traditional, like, you know, tight sleeve. I really like a straight sleeve. I did do 2 rounds of decreases on each side just to tighten it up a little bit, and then did a straight cuff down here. And I am getting a text message. Hopefully that doesn't interrupt. Okay, no, we're still recording. All right, so I did a straight sleeve and then just did like 2 inches of ribbing. And I did not change my needle for ribbing, so it doesn't come in. It kind of almost just goes straight. So that's my little modification I did, and I really love this sweater. I think this will be fun. We have a secret trip for Josh's birthday, and so far it appears that the weather will be cold enough for me to wear this, which would be awesome. If the weather holds the way it's holding in our secret location, I'm going to be wearing hand knits every single day, which would be so totally awesome. Okay, so again, Agnes by Camilla Vad, Red Stag Fibre for the fingering weight, and Biche and Buche Mohair. Yeah, I'm so glad I finally finished this. So that's finished object number 2. I have 2 more. I was on a roll. Although these I cast on. Sometimes a little quick palette cleansing project is necessary. This, I will just say, does not fit me. Does not fit Josh either. This was supposed to be a hat for Josh for this secret birthday trip. And yeah, Josh and I's head is actually pretty similar in size, because he likes a really snug fit beanie, and I have more hair, so you gotta, you know, take that into account. This does not fit really either one of us, but this is the Oslo Hat from Petite Knit. So it is a triple brim hat. I picked that one because Josh always likes to make sure that he has a nice thick covering over his ears with his hat, and the triple brim would really help keep wind out. It is originally supposed to be knit in a 2-strand of fingering held together, so equaling a DK weight gauge, but I just did a strand of DK weight, and I think that's where my differences in gauge have come through. So this is a little bit too big. I did the men's, or the largest size, and I will not reknit this, but I will knit Josh another one, but I will probably go down to the, I think it's woman's size, or maybe the next size down, and that should fit him. I might go down a needle size as well, but I do like the fabric. But all is not lost. I have a family member who has a large head that this should fit perfectly, just in time for Christmas knits. So there's like a ton of people walking around outside, and I can't figure out why. But anyway, that's the Oslo hat. The yarn I used is Estate DK in the colorway Highland Coup. This is one of Josh's fall colors that he came out with not too terribly long ago, and I really love it. It did take one entire skein. My last finished object is a selfish knit. It's all for me. Not that I actually am going to, it's a selfish knit. It's not yarn I carry in the store right now, which doesn't mean I won't. But this is the Stockholm Hat by Petite Knit. I'm on a Petite Knit roll. If y'all haven't gotten our email newsletter, we're going to do a Petite Knit knit along starting the first of the year. So this is the Stockholm Hat. I really love the little decreases here. I can also make it more of a skull cap kind of beanie with a wider brim, which actually is probably how I'm going to wear it, because I already am self-conscious enough that I have a pointy head. I don't think I actually do, but you know. Ta-da! But how she has it pictured is more of the, I'll say, hipster, pokey kind of style, which is also kind of cute with the right outfit. So let me show you those decreases up a little bit closer. So this was a really fun hat. It's basically like a 1x1 rib. What makes it is these funky little decreases. It's knit in, it calls for a DK weight gauge. I actually used a slightly heavier, I used a bulky weight yarn, and I just made the smallest size, which is perfect. I like the fabric. This is a super lightweight yarn. This is one I was actually kind of testing to see about bringing it into the store, and I do think we are going to bring it in. I think you guys would love it. It did take 2 balls for me to knit this hat, but it's totally light and airy. It feels like cashmere, but it is not. It is 100% merino, but it's a very lofty, light yarn. So that's all I'm going to say about the yarn for now. If you wanted to knit this, I would either recommend a DK weight yarn, or you could use Techno or Co's. That would kind of get you a similar lightness like this. You could also use Estate Aran from Red Stag Fibre, or if you wanted to get a bit of a really woolly version, the Shetland Croft would be really good. If you wanted a super soft one, you could also use Malarica Rios as well. Those are my finished objects. We actually have one more, a sample that a customer so kindly knit us and sent us, and then we thought it was lost in the mail, but thank you, it was not. It was just delayed. Ta-da! So this is the Some Me Time shawl by Locatelli. Beautiful garter stitch, and then this really pretty lace design. It's done, the pattern is actually written for either sport weight or a DK. You get both versions with the pattern. And this is the Andorra Sport. It's a really pretty shawl. Right size. I just love the texture. Andorra is a wonderful sport weight yarn with Highland wool, mohair, and something else. I don't remember what that something else is. Maybe merino. It softens up beautifully with blocking, and it blooms just gorgeously. This is the color Boysenberry. Now I'm doubting myself, but I'm pretty sure it's Boysenberry. It took her like 3.5 skeins to knit this size. You could probably, actually, I can't even, I bet you she spit, this is a non-superwash yarn, so I bet you she spit sliced them, because I did not see any ends, or she used like magical weaving them in. So thank you, Laura, for knitting this for us. This is another beautiful sample we have in store to show you some sport weight, especially the Andorra. So this is a really nice yarn, and I highly recommend it. It has a tiny bit of halo because it has a mohair content in it, which just really gives us a nice soft fluffy look. But again, you could always knit this in a superwash yarn. Maybe like the Moondrake Soft Sport would be really pretty, or you could always do the DK version as well with any of our beautiful DKs. Okay, let me show you. I have made some good progress on my Christmas sweater. So this is the Grace Notes from Locatelli. Ta-da! If by my morning measurements, I'm about 1 inch away from starting the ribbing, which worked out great because my goal was to finish the entire body with this ball. Before I joined it, I went ahead and picked up and knit the neckband because I only had 4 balls. And this is my last skein, and I want to divide this and equally knit the sleeves from that. Plus, if there is any left from the body, which I think I'm going to pretty much use all that up for the rest of the ribbing because it's like a 2-inch ribbing. I don't mind having shorter sleeves. I prefer like a bracelet length or a 3/4 length anyway. But yeah, this is so pretty. This is Estate DK in the colorway Jewel of the King. I don't know if you guys are seeing the beautiful textured cables that go down the side and then in the middle, and then there's 2 cables on the back. Really love this. I have a vision of me wearing this sweater on Christmas Eve with winter white silk satin pants for our family Christmas Eve dinner. We do a fancy big Italian Christmas Eve dinner. We're not Italian. I don't know why we started that tradition a couple years ago, but it stuck and it's really fun. There's a great Italian restaurant near us who I don't know that the owner is, but the chef is like from, I'm trying to remember where, somewhere, I want to say in the northern part of Italy. Could be completely wrong. And all the recipes are like his mom and grandmother's family recipes. They're so good. I'm already like pre-planning what I'm going to eat on Thanksgiving Eve. No, Christmas Eve. Oh, I love food. I do. Okay. So that is my Grace Notes. The pattern is in the MDK Grace book or available on Ravelry. I will say the book is a great little investment because I have already knit the Quattro wrap and I'm knitting the pullover. And at this point, I might as well knit the 2 other patterns in there and then knit the whole shebang. Okay, now, if y'all remember, I talked about my festival sweater last episode. If you watched Friends, you get the reference. That's how I feel about that sweater. That sweater does not exist anymore. I ripped it out. No fault of the pattern whatsoever. No fault of the yarn either. I still adore SandnesGarn Double Sunday yarn. In fact, I am pretty sure I've ripped it all out. I've rehanked it. I steamed it. I'm going to re-soak it, and I'm pretty sure I can resalvage that yarn without it looking worn at all. That's something saying that it's been already knit 3 to 4 times with this sweater. And again, not a fault of the pattern whatsoever or the yarn. It's a fault of me, and for whatever reason, my gauge is changing wildly with that sweater. So normally my gauge pretty much stays the same throughout. My gauge doesn't vary. Even like switching to sleeves or a smaller circumference, it doesn't really vary. For whatever reason, my gauge, depending on where you measured it in the sweater, was anywhere from 21 stitch gauge for 4 inches, which is what the pattern called for. And that's little sections, those looked great, all the way up to 18. The problem with that is that creates a huge discrepancy in the fabric. So you have one section that looks really nice, and I'll say, quote unquote, a tight gauge. And then you have a looser, sloppier looking gauge. And then that also means, okay, the difference between 21 and 18 stitches for 4 inches is quite a bit. So the size I was knitting, I should have had a finished object measurement of 48 inches once I'd separated for sleeves, so my bust measurement. Pre-blocking or steaming, it was already at 58. Once I steamed it, it grew all the way to 61. Massive for me. That's too big. I love oversized. Don't get me wrong. I love a big, like extra large sweatshirt type thing. But it was, the variations in gauge just made it look really sloppy, really weird. And so I ripped the whole thing out. It was also way too big in the arms. Like the armholes were measuring 23, 24 inches. That's like the size of my thigh. So not working. So I ripped it all out. Again, not the fault of the pattern, not the fault of the yarn. I've already tried changing needles, and even changing needles, I was still getting the same gauges. So I just decided, here's the thing, if I kept knitting on it, I knew I wouldn't be happy with the look of the finished object, because it would look disgusting to me. So, and I knew that if I ripped it out and restarted it again for the 5th time, I would just be so frustrated. That would in itself cause tension problems, because I've had that happen before. If I get really frustrated with a knit, it changes my gauge. So that may be part of the problem, is that I was getting frustrated because I was having so many different mistakes. Again, my fault. Left out increasing, switched to the wrong needle at the wrong time. I mean, like just some stupid little things. So frogged it. I will knit the festival sweater. Not till next year. Sorry, just found a toy. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break on the festival sweater. Let the yarn sit and cool down a little bit. And I do think I'm actually going to use the yarn for a different project, and come back to the festival sweater with a different color. Still probably going to use Double Sunday, but just give myself a little break from that project. So then I also was going through and I found 2 other whips in my stash of whips that I had started. One was Glacial Lights tee, which I had gotten into the second. It's like stripes of lace work, and then it's a Caitlin Hunter pattern. I was using Sunday, so regular Sunday from SandnesGarn, which I love the yarn. Loved the colors that I had picked for that. Really disliked the way that she had you change colors in there, which created a change in like a purl row, which gives a look that I just personally, it looks like the wrong side of the fabric. it's not, it's intentional. That's how she designed the pattern. That's how it's supposed to be. Just did not like it personally. And it had been really since I had seen that I had kind of put it away. And I didn't put stoppers on it, so half my stitches had come off. It was lace and everything else, so I was like, I'm just in a ripping mood. I just ripped out my festival sweater. I ripped out Glacial Lights. I did not rip out the other one I found, and I'm not even going to talk about it, maybe next podcast. But I ripped out my Glacial Lights, and then I was like, okay, I really want to find another pattern for Sunday. Because I don't want to rush into the double Sunday. I really want to find like the perfect pattern, which I actually did like 2 nights ago. But I'm waiting for some mohair to come in because I'm going to hold a mohair with it. But beside the point. So I was going through Ravelry and I just wasn't seeing anything. Then I pulled up, that was like, because Glacial Lights was a 4-color thing. And I was like, okay, maybe not 4 colors, but I at least want to use 2 or 3 of these colors, but I don't want to do color work necessarily. So I was going through Ravelry. I didn't see anything I liked. And then I decided, you know what, go through your favorites and just see what did you favorite, that you've forgotten about. And one of the things I'd favorited was the Friday tee from Petite Knit. So it is I'll say t-shirt. Sorry, Josh is texting me. I'll have to get back with him. It's a t-shirt style. It's like this long of a sleeve, almost double length. You could easily lengthen it, I'm sure. But it's done in a really fun texture with these really deep, wide, like raglan increasings. And I cast it on. So I am using this is light beige in Sunday, and then I'm striping it with the blue color. And it's like a broken rib texture that opens up beautifully when you block it. And you stripe it, every so often. So I'm on a blue row right now. This is it's like potato chip knitting for me. It is on a smaller needle, but I really adore the gauge that this is in, and I can see me wearing this a lot. So this is knit out of Sunday. My main color is the light beige. This is the blue. I don't have the ball bands to give you the numbers. But the striping sequence, it's kind of like you want to just, let me just do one more stripe. Let me just do one more stripe. Or let me get to the next, contrast stripe. And I really love the wide raglan panels. That's like on the back. But then you also have them on the front as well. And it's just, if you pull up the pattern, I really love the look of it. So that is my new cast on. And that has been kind of some nighttime knitting. I've been mostly knitting on the grace notes during the day, like setting a timer and knitting for an hour to try and get through that. I think Josh needs me, unfortunately. I'm going to pause this and we're going to come back. No. It was fine. Not no. I don't know why I said no. Anywho. I'm back. So yeah, I've been knitting on my grace notes mostly during the day, like setting a timer for 30 minutes to an hour just to push through and keep that done because I want to get it finished not only to wear on Christmas Eve, but I really want it to get it finished before we leave for Josh's birthday, just so I'm not stressing about it. So that should be done hopefully by next podcast. And then I have the other whip. I don't have it with me, but I have the other whip I found that I'm probably going to bust out once I finish the grace notes. And actually I have 2 other whips that I want to get in my rotation and probably treat. For sure, one, I'm going to do the 30-minute timer just to get progress going on it. I found I did that when I kind of hit a lull with the grace notes, and then I just started powering through a lot. So I think for me, setting that little timer of, okay, you're not going to pick up your phone and scroll Instagram. You're just going to listen to an audiobook or read a book or watch a YouTube podcast and knit for 30 minutes uninterrupted, unless you need water or something to drink or eat. And it's been really good. It kind of like reignites the juices. Oh, how much can I get done in 30 minutes? And it's like a little competition to myself. So, oh my gosh, everything is just going on. So anywho, those are my whips. As far as things to show you in the store, we have tons of SandnesGarn on its way. Tons. And we got in a whole bunch of needles, Chowgu. So the website is fully loaded. The store is getting fully loaded. I just want to show a couple things. We have twist shorties in all sizes, mini, I'll say the small and the new large ones, all available. We got in bunches of different needle sets from Chowgu. We got 4-inch and 5-inch tips. We got DPN sets. I also have, let me get this real quick. We got in the Prim ergonomic sets. This is the small one, and we also have the large sets. So we have those back. We also restocked some of our missing Prim hooks that we sell individually and some of the needles. Knit blockers. These make great stocking stuffers. We got the rainbow and the original. Restocked on cords, including the Swivs 360s. The fixed needles that we were out of stock on, I would say about half of those have come in already. The other half, I got to see where they ended, why they didn't come in. Hopefully they're not back ordered. Maybe they're just in another box. Like I said, SandnesGarn coming in so many boxes. Literally thousands of, not boxes. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. Thousands of balls of SandnesGarn are on their way in. Books are coming out next week. We got, the new line of books and everything coming out. So that's super excited. I got to find our tracking number for the line of magazine because it's worrying me that I don't have tracking number. But yeah, that's what I got. What else? Yeah, I really don't have much else to chat about today. Hopefully I get my grace notes finished. Here's the goal for next episode. I have finished grace notes. I have separated for sleeves on my Friday tee. And I have separated for sleeves on my whip, the mystery whip, that I will show you guys next go around. So yeah. What else do I want to say? Oh, if you're buying, I have mohair. If you are buying online from us, holiday season, USPS is suggesting international orders be ordered by the 15th to make it in time for Christmas, and by the 20th for domestic US, because of when Christmas is falling on a Sunday. I always say better to go ahead and buy your stuff early if you're looking to give as Christmas presents or stocking stuffers. Of course, our online gift cards are emailed directly to the email that you use in checking out, so you can print those out and stuff them in an envelope first thing Christmas morning if you're a procrastinator. So definitely take a look at our holiday gift guide and either purchase from it or send it on to the person that will be buying for you and let them know what your favorites are. So Thanks so much for tuning in to Holiday Vlogmas number 2, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.